Thank you, creepy lady.
Creepy,
Okay.
creepy robot woman.
So we're going to start off by looking at the sales process. And first of all, just let me say, I mean, congratulations to you guys. I don't want this to be overlooked. And I got to take a few deep breaths here and slow down, enough to really give you guys the recognition and the credit. We're sitting here doing this today because y'all have earned it. Okay. This isn't something I told y'all early on. You both knew what you had to accomplish, and that was your end of the bargain. And my end of the bargain is that within 60 days, we'd be getting you trained on Windows. And y'all upheld your part of the deal, and I'm upholding my part of the deal. So I just want to say congratulations on that. This is a big deal. I mean, what we're talking about stepping into for the two of you that you have earned is, you're both on your way to a significant raise. I don't think that's a secret to anybody. You see the window jobs coming through, the frequency of the leads is much more stable and steady with Windows. So this is a big deal that, the fact that y'all have earned this right to sell the next product, just as you're going to do with HardiePlank. So congratulations to both of you. It's I'm super, I was thinking about it last night, I'm super excited about having y'all closer to the core, elements of this team, which is Windows and Hardie. I think it's going to be a huge asset to us as a team. And it's going to be obviously a huge thing for y'all, being that your income is dramatically going to improve as you start, getting settled into Windows. So just want to take a second to do that. Like I said, I'm in super task mode this morning and the last couple days, weeks maybe, since I got back from vacation. But I just wanted to stop and say that this is very well deserved. It's something you have earned. We're not just doing this to check off a box or because it's the next step in the process. Y'all had to achieve something to get here, and you did it. You did it with consistency and performance, and you have very much earned what we're stepping into. So congratulations for that.
Me and my bill collectors, thank you, Ryan.
Got to pay all those gambling debts, huh?
That's right. Hey, that's right. No broken arms now for me.
Thanks, Ryan, man. That's awesome. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Good job,
Ryan.
Dwayne.
Thank you. Oh, good job to you, Deuce.
Yeah, I'm excited for y'all. It's a big deal. So with that being said, like I said, we're going to kind of just repeat the cycle. It's what works. So we're going to go back to the beginning, and we're going to start by just rolling through the sales process. I may make some edits in here. It's been edited for the commitment to act now, which we don't have anymore. So I changed the end, which we'll see at the end when we get there, but there is no more commitment to act now. It's a commitment to value with the 7-day, with the 30-day and the 7-day. So, but we may go through this just as a disclaimer. I haven't vetted every single line of this, so there may be something that's different as we go through this, and I'll make those edits and then we'll update it accordingly. Okay. So I just want to put that out there that this is not, I changed the date up in the corner to June 2021. And what I need to do, well, no, y'all have it. So we can, well, shoot. Now let me screen share since I'm recording this. Let me just pretend like I need somebody to view this. Apology. Just bear with me a second while I grab something that.
No worries.
Friend. Awesome. So like I said, I'll make some edits as we go through this. I got the sales methodology pulled up, but I'm going to do a screen share so we can all be looking at the same thing. And what we're going to do, like I said, is just go through the process first. So I want you to not forget everything you know, but I want you to kind of forget what you know. and kind of immerse yourself in, okay, we're selling something. We're selling it for the same company. It's in essence the same methodology, but I want you to immerse yourself in, okay, I'm walking into the home. These are the steps I'm now going to be taking for Windows, because it is different. There are some additions. The core methodology is the same, but there are some significant things that we do in a window presentation that y'all don't do in, excuse me, a Pentech appointment. So I am going to, we'll start with that, and I'll do a screen share, and we'll walk through the process. We'll make sure that we're good on that. And this again, it's not, we covered it one time and we forget about it. Just like when y'all were hired, we're going to talk about some core things. We're going to have some discussion, some back and forth on that. But then this is from now here forward, this is homework pretty much every night, right? I looked over the sales process. I looked over the new methodology. Looked over the sales process. I looked over the new methodology. So just like when you were hired, it's going to be a constant, okay, I'm giving you some assignments. We're doing some in-class work, but you're going to have homework. It's just the reality of it, because you have a job to do. I have a job to do. And this is kind of ancillary behind the scenes stuff that y'all will need to take home and do with you at home. Okay. So I think y'all understand that. I don't think you have a problem with it, but it definitely warrants saying that. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to screen share and share the document that we're going to look at, which is the sales process, which y'all should be able to see. We good to go?
Yes.
And I'm going to blow it up just for the sake of my being able to see it. Okay, so window appointments, this is what they should look like. And again, as y'all know, following a process is key. I've not seen anybody that can beat that or buck the system. Y'all know by this point, if you don't follow the process, you don't get the intended result. So this is crucial in terms of following this appointment, regardless of the circumstance or situation. So it's still the same. Again, our core methodology does not change. Obtain a commitment to agenda. Verify all parties. If not, we make every attempt to reschedule and do a two-step. We talk about the understanding our visit. So what do you understand I'm here to do for you today? Deliver the value of the visit, right? That we talk about. So when the time comes, we'll be the first people you think of. So I guess we should change this. Instead of acknowledging this month's promotion, we're going to acknowledge full transparency pricing with that new addition to the methodology that we talked about. Does that make sense? We good so
Yes.
far?
Yes, it does.
Hey, I'm here and I'm listening and fully attentive. I'm just gonna, if you're okay with it, I'm gonna stop my video because Hannah's about to be moving around the house and the dogs are coming through. Is that cool or?
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay.
Okay, so we acknowledge full transparency pricing, and now we're going to move right into, Dwayne, Joseph, of course. Sorry, Jim's calling me. Always happens that way. We're going to begin the inspection. Okay, so Joseph, Dwayne, can you take me to one of the windows that you're having the most problems with? Okay.
Okay. So a quick question. So this is kind of at the front door, like we're doing this this is the first 2 minutes essentially of the visit or wherever they welcome us into, but then we ask them to take us to a specific window. We don't start at a specific window.
No, not for the sake of, so what we're doing right now is just the window inspection.
Gotcha.
So we're not measuring right now. It's the, so once we measure,
commitment to need. Yeah.
uh-huh.
It's the need.
Almost, yeah. We're transitioning from agenda to need,
Okay,
but we don't measure until the very end because when we measure, they know we have what we need to give a price.
oh, gotcha.
So we don't want to do that because then inevitably, oh, I don't need it. I know all the other stuff. I've done my research. I know all about you guys. I don't need this. I don't need that. And just give me a price. So if we don't measure till the end, we don't have what we need to give them a price, which they can't force us into some sort of, situation then.
Makes sense.
Okay. So we're going to begin the inspection. Obviously, we're using our consultation form. And the order in which we're going to do this, and I'm going to make amendments here as we go. We start inside, then we go outside. And the process in which we do that, well, that's fancy. Process which we're going to do that is frame, glass, locks and hardware, meaning balances. And the balances are in the sides of the windows, right? They're those things that are usually flapping around. They look like, most often, depending, unless they're really old school windows with like weights in the wall, the balances are little circular aluminum rods. And in those rods, they have this little spring mechanism that allows the window to operate up and down.
Okay.
So we're going to look at hardware in essence, which is your locks and balances. And then we're going to look at install, which is mainly caulking, sealing, exterior trim, all that. So within your inspection here, and you have your consultation form open, within your inspection, you start inside and then you move outside. But within each interior and exterior mode, you're doing this exact process. You're inspecting the frame, you're inspecting the glass, you're inspecting the locks and balances, which locks and balances you won't see from the exterior. It'll all be interior. And then the install, you're inspecting on the inside, the caulking and sealing from the window to the wall. And you're seeing if you see any moisture, if you see any rot, if you see any, this is very common where the sill is started to bubble up. It's because, the builder used a cheap like MDF, kind of sill, and it got moisture on it. And now it's all bubbled and nasty. So that's what you're looking for inside as far as install goes. And on the exterior, you're looking at caulking, you're looking at any kind of trim, you're looking at any kind of gap or space, if it's rock or brick, which we have a ton of here. You're looking for cracks or gaps in the mortar where water, bugs, dirt, dust, everything could be getting into, wind. So this is where, this is where we create the urgency for the appointment. And we know if we don't have urgency, we don't have what?
A sale.
Exactly. So how you do on this part, even though it seems like, I just got here, I'm just kind of chilling, this isn't really, I don't really need to have my game face on. I'm warming up, I'm taking some hacks and I'm just getting my feet, getting my feet on the ground. This is showtime. So
we're building pain at this point.
You are building pain.
We need to know exactly what's going on with the window also.
Yes. And that is the purpose for the inspection, is to kind of set the stage for the whole appointment and start building pain and helping them recognize their need.
Got it.
But that process is the same. We start inside, we move outside. The way we execute that is we start with the frame. I mean, think of it like this. You're kind of working your way in. Frame, glass, locks and balances, and then we go back to the install. And this, like I said, this is one of those traps. We talk about these traps that I see new people fall into. This is one of those traps. They know what's wrong. 9 times out of 10, when you get there, I know my windows are junk. I just need to have them replaced. Okay, well, what they know is wrong is entirely different from what you know through your trained, educated eye, through what you see as wrong. They're on different planes of existence. So the trap for you is being a new person. Oh, well, Steve told me he knows what's wrong with his windows. I don't need to do anything more. Oh, Julie said, she knows, these windows are terrible. Julie hates her windows. So she knows everything that she could possibly know about what's wrong with them. That's failure right there. Julie and Steve don't know crap. They have no idea what's actually wrong with their windows. All they do is see some of the symptoms. They have no idea the problems with their windows. And you'll laugh. Probably the first appointment you'll walk into. Oh, I know my windows are garbage. I know they need to be replaced. Okay, cool. Well, since you already know that, let's go right on to commitment to need. I don't need to do anything more. And you've basically lost you're basically running a Pentec appointment now that's going to cost $40,000.
So Ryan, when you hear that, could you just kind of say maybe like how would you quickly transition into, hey, that, I understand exactly what you're saying, but here's why we need to do this. Like, how would you overcome that?
Yeah. So, I mean, hey, Julie, that's great. I understand, that's probably why I'm standing here, is because you realize these things are in bad shape, but I really need to take some time to do a professional inspection on these windows so I can get a better understanding of what's going on. So I know how to better help you. And through that process, most of the time what we find out from people is that we actually open their eyes to situations that were going on with their windows that they didn't even know.
Nice.
That's exactly it. That's all you have to say. What is somebody going to say? No, you can't do that. No, you can't look at my windows. No, because
that's what you're there to do.
You just told them it's for their benefit indirectly, because you need to put eyes on the problem. Nobody's going to say no to that. But if you dance around, or you're kind of soft, or, oh, you're right, Julie, you know what's wrong with these windows. Okay, well, let's just move on. That's the trap. So if I had to say there were one thing that you needed to really work on or focus on as you transition from Pentec to Windows, it's becoming a brilliant inspector. And like an inspector, hold on a second. Like an inspector, you need to make recommendations very generically. So it's not like, oh, this is how we'll fix this. Oh, this is how I'm going to help you this. Oh, this is how the Marvin window is going to be great for this. Oh, this is how Southwest Exteriors will fix this. So the same thing. Remember what don't we say in the first, with Pentec, the first 15 minutes of an appointment?
Us, we, basically what you described. Keep it generic.
I mean, ours, we, us.
Right.
Those don't come out of our mouth for the first. Now you're stepping up to the big leagues, so it's the first usually about 45 minutes of the appointment. Hey, Julie, come over here and take a look at this. What do you see happening here? Hey, Julie, what do you think's going on here? Hey, how long has this been going on right here? Were you aware of this? So it's all asking questions, it's all pointing out issues. It's not talking about solutions unless they ask, hey, can something be done about that? Well, yeah, through the normal process of replacing a window, the window can be taken out, and that would allow, the person to diagnose better what's going on, kind of like a surgeon opening up somebody's body or doing an MRI or an X-ray. It allows them to take a look inside and get a better, understanding of what's happening beneath the surface. Instead of, oh, well, we're going to come in here and we can take care of all this because we're going to have the window out and our window is going to be perfect because it's not going to leak like this one. I'm selling. I'm not selling at this point. I'm offering an investigative service. I'm looking for problems, talking about diagnosis, and, if they ask, talking about solutions. But it's more so just presenting problems and bringing an awareness to the situation at hand. Just like a home inspector. A home inspector doesn't come in and start talking about fixing things. All he's going to do is give you a report of everything that's wrong. That's what we need to do during an inspection. I'm not here to fix. I'm not here to sell. I'm not here to, bombard you with solutions unless you ask me. Then I'm going to give you the courtesy of saying, okay, well, this can be fixed. Don't be worried. Don't be alarmed. The good news is that this can be fixed. There is a solution. But I'm not here right now at this point in time to tell you about that. We're going to get into that later. Let's keep moving forward with the inspection so we can diagnose, anything else possibly that might be going on. But that needs to be a very systematic, tedious, very robotic process. Inside inspection, outside inspection, frame, glass, locks and balances, and then the install. We good on that?
And so during that time, we're taking notes in that top paragraph on the consultation form
Absolutely.
and taking pictures as well, I'm assuming.
Yes.
And we're having them come along with us. Like, so at this point, we're just looking at one window. Like we're looking at the problem window that they took us to.
That's why you say, take me to one of your worst windows. You don't want to see their best window.
Yeah.
Right? Take me to your best window. Okay, well, that sucked. Let's go do something else because that was boring. Right?
Yeah.
Take me to one of your worst windows. Take me to one of your windows that you're having the most problems with.
Okay. And then we take them with us outside as well.
Absolutely. And if it's raining, if it's 6 million degrees and they're like, I don't do well in heat, I can't go out there, then you got a big old flipping iPad, take some ridiculous pictures with your iPad and put them in company cam, ain't nobody gonna be hurt by that. But 9 times out of 10, you will have better success if you take them with you. I had a ride along that I did with Allie early on when she first did Windows. And we, again, typical story, right? You're the last of 5 companies and nobody had taken him outside. And they were looking at a whole house project. And he was very meticulous. So I took him outside and we ended up adding probably $5,000 to that job because he had siding that was falling off around his windows. She got that job merely from the fact that we did a more thorough, more detailed inspection than any other company. So absolutely take them with you wherever you go. It should be like your shadow, unless it's pouring rain, unless it's, you know, not safe for the person for whatever reason. They're older, you know, they can't be out in the heat, whatever. But know that your chances, just like having a 2-party instead of a 1-party, your chances significantly increase if you can bring them with you on the exterior inspection. So we've
Okay.
completed the inspection. Should be really you're done with the inspection by this point. So I'm going to put completed inspection. We're not selling. Remember that. I mean, that's the best, you know, analogy I can give you. You know, if you bought a house, that inspector gives you like a 38-page report with no solutions. It's just like, okay, here's why your house sucks. Now call somebody that can fix it all. That's basically what we're doing. Okay, I got some really good notes up here about everything that's wrong. We're going to talk about solutions later, not now. Okay, so you get your consultation form. You should have it in your hand. You should have all the top filled out already with their name and all that. Then we go on to the consultation form. Y'all are familiar with this. Sell the question before you ask each one. Identify the motives that drove the home purchase. Summary. Playback, right? So if I'm understanding you correctly, this is what I'm hearing you say. Then we're going to get our commitment to need and or verify it. So again, I put that in there because if they gave you, oh, I know they need to be replaced. Okay, it's kind of like you tell me you know the problems with your windows. It's easy to say that, but do you really know they need to be replaced? Or are you just thinking you have enough of a problem where you're going to put some more towels down, you're going to keep the blinds closed longer to keep the heat out, maybe you're going to put some duct tape on the window to keep the dust out. But do you, Mr. or Mrs. Homeowner, recognize the need to the extent that replacement is the only thing here? So then we're going to do our window analyzer, which is worth its weight in gold. So Window World, Champion, Window Experts, they all use this antiquated heat lamp, right? It's literally 1980s technology. So why would we, if we're trying to differentiate ourselves and move ourselves up a level on professionalism, integrity, why would we bring ourselves down by using the same technology that these other jokers are using, selling windows at $300 a window? Instead, we have an $800 device that we're bringing out, that our company has entrusted us with, that I'm going to bring out to your home to really give you a good baseline understanding with data, not opinion, on how your windows are performing. And that'll be some of your homework tonight, because I'm pretty sure I did a video on how to use the analyzer, which includes how to set it up.
You did. It's been a while since I watched it, but you did.
Oh boy. Dwayne, you get a happy face on the board today.
Okay.
So just for the sake of setting it up, this is how we set it up. Dwayne, Joseph. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to kind of take a look at your windows from a data perspective. Okay. Our company has entrusted us enough to put this $800 tool. It's made by EDTM, which is the worldwide leader in glass and film testing technology. What that means is they don't make windows or film, UV film coatings. They make the best technology in the business to test those materials. Okay, so my company has entrusted me enough to put an $800 tool in my hand to help you better understand from a data perspective how well or how poorly your windows are performing. So I'm going to run a test here real quick. All it does is test the glass. It doesn't test any environmental factors. So whether I'm doing this test on a 32-degree day or am I doing this test on a 110-degree day, it's not going to vary. It's not going to vary the results. But what it's going to do is it's going to give us some significant data in each of these 4 categories that are going to help you understand how your windows are performing and let you formulate your own opinion as to how quickly or how urgently these windows need to be replaced. How beautiful is that? Anybody else that comes out to their house, your house is going to fall down if you don't replace these windows today. That's the kind of crap they're going to hear. Like, you cannot go another hour with these windows in your house. Well, Dwayne, Joseph, I'm going to do things a little bit differently. I'm going to give you some unmanipulated, completely reliable data on which you can formulate your own opinion as to how quickly these windows need to be replaced. I don't know about y'all. That's what I want to hear from somebody coming into my house to sell me something, not I need to do this an hour from now or my house is going to fall down and the world's going to end.
Basically, not you need to do this because I think you need to do this. You need to do this because I showed you reasons why you can agree that you need to do it.
We're getting there, but you don't need to do this. I'm going to give you some data for you to formulate your own opinion as to if you need to do this or not. See how that's even a step better?
Absolutely. Because in some cases, they may not.
It's happened. To me, it's happened when I was selling full time twice in probably 7 years, where the analyzer told a story where they didn't need to replace their windows. And I told them as much.
Right.
But one of those I've done probably since that time when I went out to their house initially and said they didn't need to replace. We've done all their siding. We've done 3 doors and we've done half of the windows.
You developed a level of trust.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. If I can trust you not to come in my house and have to sell me something, I can trust you for what I do need.
Yep.
Yeah, I got it.
So that is how we use that analyzer. And like I said, there's a video in there going through the setup, setting the stage like I just did, which you need to do. Again, it's like, I can't tell you how frustrating that is to watch. When somebody just does a moisture test or hardness test and doesn't say a thing about it. It's like you got a $600 tool and you're doing something that nobody else is doing and you're not going to showcase that. Like, that's crazy to me. It's the same thing with the analyzer. If we don't set the stage by telling them EDTM, that's the maker of the analyzer, the worldwide leader. We didn't get some knockoff like Walmart brand. We got the best window analyzer in the market, and this little sucker costs $800. If we don't set the stage like that, we're shooting ourselves in the foot. No other company is going to bring out an $800 device except Renewal by Andersen, and they're only doing it because we started doing it, and anytime before anybody knew what a window analyzer was. Nobody else is going to bring out an $800 device and test their windows to tell them what they're performing to. So we do the analyzer. It's not a 30-day, it's not a 90-day, it's a 30-day. So we're obtaining a 30-day commitment, or we're going to confront the conflict and resell. Conflict meaning, I don't know. We might try putting film on there. I think, I'm just going to have my husband get out there and caulk every window on the exterior, and we'll see if that solves the problem. Okay, so that's our 30-day commitment, brutal honesty commitment. Before I leave today, you'll give me a reason. Obtain a commitment to yes or no, not a maybe. And then we're moving right into commitment to trust. So again, that's probably the biggest. Whoa. This is probably the biggest change to what y'all are used to. Right before, because it's, with Pentech, it's maybe a 3 to 5 minute discussion tops. And you've done both commitment to need and action, and you're moving into the presentation.
Mhm.
Here, it's a little bit different. Okay, so now we set up the presentation. Okay, Joseph, Dwayne, next
So-
thing we're going to do here, we've been doing this a
Quick
long
question,
time,
Ryan.
32 years. So what we're going to do now is a really cool part of the process, for your benefit. We're going to leverage our 32 years of experience, meaning our successes, our failures, and trying to help you with that information to the best decision possible. We don't say presentation. We don't say, I have some stuff you want to look at. I have some stuff I need to go through with you right now.
So that part's the same.
That's the same.
Yeah.
We go through the presentation. We go through the 6 key customer questions, which y'all weren't using. I don't have that in the Pentech presentation because it's really not all that valid. But you'll see with the window presentation that we start with 6 key things that everybody needs to be confident in before they move forward with any home improvement project. And then once we present those 6 things, let me update those because those are kind of old school. I've changed them slightly since, so let's do that while we're here.
While you're doing that, Ryan, I got to take a quick bio break.
Okay.
All right, I'm back.
So really this should be number 1. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so all I did was update those a little bit to more relevant verbiage. So we start with dependable company, ROI, expert installation, installer, warranty service, product meeting needs, and then full transparency pricing and monthly payment options with no hassle. Then we go into company story. And then we do commitment to trust. And I'm going to get rid of this because that changes every time we change the Prezo.
So Ryan, obtain an understanding of what's most important. So is there a different consultation form that we would be using? Like, is this part of the consultation form, or is that before we jump into like, is that before we open the iPad and jump into
Which part? I'm sorry.
that number 1 and number 2 right there? Obtain commitment to trust, number 1 and number 2. So we do that before we ever even say, Southwest Exterior has been around since 1989.
Yeah. So and we'll get into that with the Prezo, but
Okay, gotcha.
The 6 customer questions, that happens first. Then we go into company story after that. Is that what you're asking?
I guess I'm asking, like, are those 6 customer questions a part of the presentation?
They're the second slide in the presentation.
Okay, gotcha.
So we go into those. Then we go into the 3 quotes slide. Then we go into company story. So when you say obtain a commitment to trust here, I guess I could put that in. Prezo. So for commitment to trust, we're going to the iPad Prezo. And really this should be 2. So iPad Prezo, we go. Six key customer questions. And then after we do those customer questions, I have to go back there. Yikes. Well, it's being difficult. There we go. Then what we do is we get the top 3. So after we talk about the 6 factors, so let me ask you, Dwayne, in your opinion, which of those top 3 that I just mentioned, or which of these 6 that I just mentioned, what would you say your top 3 are? And then you go to the second person. Hey, Joseph, now that we talked about those 6 things between you and a great experience, let me ask you, what are your top 3? Okay, and then that kind of needs to be notated on the consultation form, just for the sake of helping you track the course of your appointment.
Okay.
Okay.
So so we're just kind of getting an overview of the flow of an appointment at this point. At some point, we'll see this, like we'll kind of get a good idea of what this looks like in the home.
Yeah, all we're doing right now is high level talking about the process.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
do some ride-alongs, I'm assuming, right?
Yes, yeah. And
Okay.
I think I have, I think I have the presentation just like I did with Pentec. I'm pretty sure I have that in the YouTube video. It's going through every slide.
Nice.
Okay, so we do that. We go into our 3 quotes, which should really be next. We go 3 quote slide and have that discussion with them about 3 quotes and what we're seeing in the industry, how things are kind of migrating away from that. Then we go into company story, and then we get our commitment to trust. Does that make sense? We all good?
Yes. Ryan, what would you say is the average time for a window appointment?
A lot longer than Pentec, anywhere from hour and 45 to, on average, 2.5, 3. And then you'll have your anomalies that are 5, 6 hours, and those are the 80 to 120 to $200,000 projects.
Sure.
But generally, if you're doing it quicker than an hour and 45, you're going too fast. Okay, so we get our commitment to trust. Then we do our commitment to solution. Same thing. Solution is product. Except now with Windows, we're going to be potentially, I hope to God, not talking about ever more than 3 windows. But hopefully by the end of this, they have, because of your inspection, because of you realizing some of their window issues and how big they are and all that, you should have a good idea, and they should be able to answer which of the 3 windows they think is going to be the best solution for them.
Is that the choices we have now? 3 window options?
Kind of, yeah. We have Marvin, Provia, and Vistamart. And Don Young, technically, that aluminum one from like the 1980s. We always make fun of Frank for. So we get our commitment to solution, obtain a window option commitment. We don't really need to do glass commitment. We do, it should really be warranty commitment, because those are the 2 asks, kind of like now. The 2 asks that we have are commitment to this being the product that you want to put in your home. And then the second one is after warranty. Do you believe that this warranty, our expertise in installing it properly would fully protect your product? And then once we're done with that, the warranty ask, then we do the commitment to resolution. So there's no doubt this is the window that you want to install in your home. Okay, so then we move on to commitment to value, which, okay, Joseph, Dwayne, we're at the point now where we're going to measure your windows and talk about some design. So this is where we get more specific. This is really, where we start talking about practical solutions.
Okay.
So we're measuring windows, we're talking about colors, we're talking about configuration. And this, we spent a lot of time early on, I think it was probably around February, where we started talking about having fun with your job. Like we have the opportunity to do some really cool things. We have some freedoms to design some really awesome changes. And again, just like doing a very good commitment to, or not a commitment, an inspection, this is where we can really separate even further us from other people. Because most everybody else is going to go in there. Okay, you have a single hung. We'll go back with a single hung right there. You have a single hung there. We're going to put another single hung there. You have a single hung. Oh, I'm going to get real creative. Do you want to do a picture window there instead of a single hung? That's about the extent of the design that people talk to them about. Other companies. So when we go in there and do a full, like suggestive, hey, you could really do this here. I think I do this in one of the videos. Before you start your measure, I should probably put that in here.
Something's going on with the sound right now. I'm not sure if it's because Dwayne's unmuted or if there's something in your background. Ryan?
I'm sorry, Deuce. I'm muted
No,
up.
no,
man.
no.
Is that better? Is that better?
Yeah, I think so. I think
There's
so.
a lot.
Thanks, Dwayne.
Yeah, there's a lot less feedback on my end now too. I didn't realize that was part of the issue. So yeah, just keep it muted if you need to chime in or, respond, just unmute. So before we measure the windows, I'm putting in set the stage. What do I want to call this? Set the stage with. So before I take anyone on a walk around and a measure, okay, Dwayne, Deuce, now I want you to know before we get started here, this is one of my favorite parts of what I get to do for folks is as I walk around with you here, I'm going to be looking at, at every window, every room through the lens of three factors here. So as we do that, we're going to look at the design. Okay, so we're going to look at the aesthetics. How can we improve? I mean, nobody wants to spend money. Nobody wants to, this is a good opportunity for price conditioning. Nobody wants to spend 20, 30 grand, or if they have more windows, nobody wants to spend 40 or 50 grand and not have any noticeable change in their house, right? Nowadays, everybody wants to see some sort of improvement or upgrade as part of doing this window project. So we're going to take a look at the aesthetics. Next thing we're going to look at is efficiency. So what recommendations or suggestions can I make that are going to improve the efficiency footprint, the energy footprint of your home? And then the last thing we'll consider, and certainly not the least important, is budget. So if I can make suggestions or recommendations that help you with the price of the project, then I'm certainly going to do that and make you aware of those changes. So I've just kind of set the stage for everything that every recommendation, every suggestion I'm going to make. I've set the stage that it's going to be impacting one of three factors in a critical way. It's going to improve the aesthetics, it's going to improve the efficiency, or it's going to improve the cost. So that's just a real cool way of, and they're like, oh, that's great, thank you. I mean, usually it's rare when somebody isn't excited about that. Because all three things are things that are going to help them, right? Hey, by the way, I'm going to look to see if we can make your house look better. I'm also going to be looking to see if we can make your house way more efficient than it is now. And in the process of doing that, I'm going to figure out ways to save you money as we walk around from window to window. Who's going to object to that? Right? So that's what we're doing as we walk around. That's a super important part before we start the measure of telling them, hey, and I make sure I have their attention. Like it's a serious, like, hey, no, stop playing with each other's, hair or whatever. Pay attention to me. As we walk around, I'm going to look through the lens of 3 things here. And all my suggestions and recommendations are going to be based on one of these 3 factors. And it's just what I told you. It's aesthetics, it's efficiency, it's cost. It's just a super nice way to set the table of here's where my recommendations are coming from. Okay, any questions, concerns on that?
Just to kind of recap, like how you would transition there, you'd say, basically, all right, so as we just to kind of let you guys know, as we walk through the house, there's really going to be 3 different lenses or factors that I'm looking at windows and trying to make suggestions with. The first one is aesthetics. The second is really, making your home as efficient as possible. And the third is trying to save you as much money on this installation as we can. And weighing those 3 things all together. Yeah. On this project, right.
Okay. Yeah, but be excited. Like I said, be excited about it. Hey, like I first said, and I say this, and I have ever since I came up with this. Hey, Dwayne, Deuce, this is my favorite part of the job. This is what really gets me excited, is when I can do what we're about to do next. It's fun. It's meant to be fun. Let's have some fun with this. I'm going to throw some ideas at you. If you hate them, it's not going to bother me. It happens all the time. Not really. Most of the times people like my suggestions, but we're going to have some fun here. Okay. So as I make these recommendations or the suggestions based on the 3 variables I told you about, if you hate them, tell me. You're not going to hurt my feelings, I promise. I'm going to get an opportunity to do this 2 more times today, and I'm going to have just as much fun with those people making the same recommendations. So if what I say you don't like, tell me. It will not hurt my feelings, I promise. We're still going to be friends. If you love what I have to say and you want to talk more about it and you want to totally, like I said, blow the doors off this thing and really come up with something that's cool and it's new and it's exciting to you, and it's really going to make a dramatic impact on what the house looks like, your energy bills, and your, the cost of the project, then hey, we're going to go crazy, because that's one of my favorite things to do. Right. And you would, you do that with the right person, for somebody that's excited about it, you doing that, they will hang on every single syllable that you say. For somebody that's more reserved, like the engineer type, you take a different approach, but you get what I'm saying. Yep. Most people, this is a pretty exciting step of the process, because they've been looking at Pinterest for 3 months. They've been deciding on colors for 2 months. They've been taking a walk through their neighborhood, looking at their neighbor's home for 6 weeks, trying to determine what their house would look like and how it can look better than it does now. Yep. So play into that. Have some fun with them. All right. Any questions before we move on?
No.
So once we get that all buttoned up and we inspect every window, this takes some time. We inspect and measure every window. And as you're going, you got a whole crap load of stuff to consider, like tempering, egress, min sizes and max sizes. So it's a complicated part of the job, but it's also the most fun part of the job. But that's where knowing your mins and maximums, which right now, I don't know what the heck they are, because we may have a new window. So just know that in the background, it's like a processor for a computer. You got 6 activities going on simultaneously right now, and you need to make sure that you have enough bandwidth for every one of them. But the main thing you should be doing right now, aside from getting accurate measurements, is getting the people excited about the changes that you can make. Because everybody else, I haven't heard of anybody, even Renewal by Andersen, that sells their windows for $2,500 a window. They do a pretty piss poor job of building excitement and designing, truly having fun with the homeowner and designing an awesome project. So we get all that done, we button it up, we go back to the table, the living room, wherever we were sitting. And then, okay, so we got the window, you know, you really love this XYZ window. I'm going to go get it out of my truck and I'm going to come back in and we're going to just take a quick look at it. So going back to our inspection, what's the process of what we do in our inspection? What pieces of the window do we look at first?
Frame,
Then what?
glass,
Then what?
Hardware?
Hardware and balances?
Yes.
Then what?
locks, and then install.
Yep, install. So guess what we're going to do here on the window demo? Frame,
Same exact thing.
glass, hardware and balances, and install. So it's easy, right? Wash, rinse, repeat. But it helps you keep organized and it helps you not miss stuff. And window demo, you know, who knows? I don't know what window it's going to be, so we'll leave that for later. But just know this is where you come back. And this needs to be interactive. You need to have the window perched up somewhere. It needs to be on a countertop, a table. Use the case to protect their table if it's a nice table or a nice countertop. But this is, you want the window showcased, right? Hey, come look at this awesome product I have, and you have it down on the ground. You just deflated everything. So get the window up, get it where it's hopefully close to eye level or at least hand level. And this is the time for the window to shine. This is where you're showcasing your window, which means it needs to be clean. It needs to be operable. It needs to be looking right, because this is a big part of them getting to touch and feel something that they're potentially going to spend 20 to 60 grand on. Okay. And then we demo it inside. Frame, glass, hardware, balances, install. Outside. Frame, glass, hardware, balances, install. Hey, Dwayne, come over here and raise and lower this sash. Raise and lower the top sash. Hey, Dwayne, tilt those both in. Feel what that feels like. How sturdy does that feel? How do you think this compares to the window in your wall right now? What are your general observations? This will be a fun part of the appointment if you do it right. So they're all excited. They love it. They've touched it. They felt it. They've operated it, which you need to have them do. The demo is not just you doing it. It's getting them both up from wherever they are. And if they don't get up when you bring the window in, you got a problem, because they're not interested. So they should be congregating around you. Oh, put it here, put it there. You know, come here, put it right here. I want to be able to see it, you know. Get them to move it. Get them to lock it. Get them to move the top sash. Get them to move the bottom sash. Get them to tilt them both in. If it's a casement, get them to operate the casement. See what I'm saying? This is an interactive, hey, I got some cool toys, come play with them, part of the consultation. A bad demo would be, okay, here's how it goes up and down. Here's how it tilts in. Flip it around. Here's the outside. So there's your window. That's a very poor window demo. If you have the color on your sample that they want, oh, this is perfect for you, Dwayne Deuce. This is the exact color that we came up with as we were walking around doing the design. Isn't this beautiful? How good do you think that would look? Hey, come out here with me. I'm going to take this window and put it in the window pocket outside of the brick. so you can see what it looks like with the brick. Come out here real quick. Right? Activity, motion, movement, excitement. That's what you want during this part, because what are you about to do next? What is the only one thing we have not done?
Obtain commitment to value. Yeah, money.
So you want them to be so high, so excited about this window that it doesn't even matter the price, they have to have it. And it's not always going to work that way, but you want to get them there, right? You want to get them to the point where they're so excited. They're like, man, I got to get my hands on this window. I don't care. We'll phase it. We'll finance it. We'll do less. We'll do half. I don't care, but I got to have this window that you're showing me right now. They can't have that excitement if you're like, here's the window. Here's the inside. Here's the outside. See how it opens and it tilts in. So that's cool. So yeah, let's look at the price. You're like, thanks, dude. Can you just leave? Because you just destroyed any kind of momentum or excitement that I've had here. Okay, so, and then we go into specifications. This is exactly, basically, I don't even need to do this. This is pre. So we do the cart, we do the pre-close, we quote price. Payment options. Let's modernize this. God dang. Quote, low interest, zero interest, cash value option. We have not shown discounts yet at 30-day retail. Obtain your commitment to value. So let me ask you, Dwayne, Deuce, everything that we've talked about, the installation, the commitment to, installing these windows better than anybody else that's going to put windows in your home. The level of our, the installers, the fact that I was able to show you their pictures. As I told you before, you could sit here and shop windows for the next 6 months. There ain't nobody that's going to be able to come out and show you pictures of somebody that's going to be putting in your windows. Nobody. So the fact that we have that type of family orientation to our business, the fact that I can share with you the people that will actually come out and install your windows, the warranty that we have, the way we stand behind our clients with that Best Buy Southwest warranty. Is there any doubt in your mind that this project is worth every penny of this investment that I'm showing you right now? Commitment to value, right? Firm answer. We don't take any halfways. We don't take any maybes. We don't take any, kind of, I think so, maybe on the right day, we got to get a firm, I'm not happy about it. I don't love that price, but I understand based on everything you shared with me why I'm looking at that price right now. So this is kind of garbage. Commitment to value. Then we're going to go into we don't. Whoa, where are you going, bro? Refer to your responsibility. I like that. That can stay. That's relevant. Refer to your responsibility to stay in touch, qualify timing of decision, and follow-up process. Remember, just like we're doing now. Okay, so you got 7 days on this price. You know, about how long do you see? We already did this, so that's not necessary. And this would go up here. Okay, sorry, as I told you, there were going to be some amendments in here. So we're still asking for handling any objections and asking for the business today. If we don't get the sale, refer to our responsibility to stay in touch, qualify the timing of the decision and the follow-up process. Do you want me to contact you, or are you going to contact me within these 7 days? Okay, great. So I'm going to put you down for Wednesday. You're going to contact me. If I don't hear from you by Thursday, I'm just going to reach out and give you a courtesy call. Okay, just to, no pressure, no obligation, nothing crazy. I'm just going to do my due diligence to making sure that I'm serving you with the best process possible. If it's you following up, okay, Dwayne Deuce, I have you down in my calendar to call you Thursday afternoon. So I have a 2 o'clock that day, so expect to hear from me probably about 4:30. Okay, does that sound great? And then we go to market chart. Contact. So same process as we have now. Make sense?
Yep.
So that is our sales process. And it is the same, but it's a lot more involved. It's a lot more particular. And there's a lot more emphasis on doing certain things very well in order to position you to get a sale. It's not as easy as Pentech as far as the appointment, as far as the paperwork, as far as the process. We're taking a step up here in all realms, obviously including your pay. So I'll send you this document since we did some updates. And then unless y'all have any talking points, any questions, we're going to take probably a 5-10 minute break. And then we'll get back at it. So before we do that, any questions, comments, concerns?
Nothing at the moment. I'm good with that.
Yeah, no, sounds good.
Well, she's already doing Windows. So. So I'll send this to you right now. Sales process. Okay, so y'all should have that. Time we got 11:38. So let's take a break till 11:50, and then we're going to get into some of the methodology stuff, and we'll keep pushing on from there.
Hey, Ryan.
Yeah.
I've got I guess kind of a weak window lead right now. We can talk about it more later, of course. He just bought a small Pentac job for his back porch and front porch and back patio. He's got 2 windows that hold plants. I don't even know what you call them. He's convinced it's going to cost him too much to replace at this time, but he's already replaced all the other windows in his house, and those are two that he knows he needs to replace. I just thought I'd plant that seed with you. I took pictures there in company cam. Maybe you and I can talk about that a little more later. That's all.
Okay.
All right, 11:50.
Okay, we'll see you in a bit. Thank you, creepy lady. So any questions based on anything we talked about with process?
None at the moment.
No? Might have a question or two once you start doing it.
Absolutely.
Deuce, anything from you?
Not at this point. Nope.
Okay.
Here's mud.
Sweet. That's the way I like it. Okay, so what we're going to do, and again, there won't be, that was a bulk of, that's a pretty important step, is understanding the process. With the methodology, that's just going to be something that y'all are going to have to work on going through, just like we did when you were trained. Much of it is the same. We're going to kind of do the same thing. The last time this was updated was with the new paragraphs that y'all have already seen. But we do need to go into value. The visit's the same. Full transparency pricing's the same. So what we'll do is kind of we'll focus on need and action, again, because those are the biggest variances. All the commitment question asks are pretty much the same from trust. Yeah, slight variations, but not dramatic at all. So we'll run through that. And we are at 12. So Deuce, you still got nothing. Dwayne, you got a 3 o'clock. What time do you need to leave for your 3? You're on mute. You're on mute.
You
all do.
You couldn't read my lips, man.
I was trying, but you're talking too dang fast, dude.
No, I think a little after 2, because it's about a 30-minute drive, just so I can prepare and get out there.
Okay. Cool. Well, then I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. And we will dip into the methodology a little bit. Get rid of this. Okay. So we, again, like I said, most of this is going to stay relatively the same. So we got our commitment to agenda. We got F, our full transparency pricing mention. We go into commitment to need. And as you can see here, this will seam up with what we just talked about. So we're going to conduct a professional inspection. Think and act like a home inspector. Recommend generically. Do not sell our products, services, solutions, or customers. Absolutely no I, me, my, ours, we, us. Engage them in a question-based discussion on design and dissatisfaction. Work from the consultation form notes section. So now I don't want to waste your time, but it'll be a tremendous help if you could tell me what you like about your windows now. And how, or wait, what would like your windows to look? Oh, how, if you could tell me if you would like your windows to look similar to how they do now or completely different. What do you like about what you have now? What would you like to change about how they look now? Okay, so that's, as we get into more of the dialogue specific stuff, that's a very good question that I start with to find out a high level colors, grills, all that kind of detail stuff. Generally, not one window, not this window, not a window. What do you like about your windows? And what do you not like about your windows? And again, we're going for all 30 windows. I want grills only on the front. I want to get rid of grills everywhere. Okay, great, super. We're looking at clear glass everywhere. I think that's going to be an awesome change. The front of the house already has enough dynamic to it. I think going with no grills is going to be an excellent change. Yeah, we hate this white. We want to go with the bronze. Okay, you and everybody else in the world. Sounds good. Let's bronze everywhere. It's going to look great with your roof. It's going to really tie in that darker kind of spattering in the brick. I think it's a great choice. Are you open to them looking entirely different than they do now in terms of the way they open? Or do you want to keep it kind of like it is now? Because we got all kinds of options that might add, allow you some benefits and better looks and also better efficiency. Are you open, Dwayne Deuce? Are you open to hearing about that? Or do you just want to keep it, kind of status quo and just kind of replace what we have now? And very rarely, unless you got some super old time, resistant to change, doesn't want to hear about it. Most time, oh, I'd love to hear what you have to say. We're really open to making this look better than it does now. Okay. FLIR, analyzer, do a detailed interior and exterior inspection of windows. Exterior seal between the wall, that's install. Window caulking, that's install. Frame, glass, hardware balances. Lock screens. And then same thing. Was there anything that we discovered during the inspection that was news to you? Sound familiar? It's the same ask that you guys have on your Pentec methodology. Commitment to action. So Dwayne Deuce, let me ask you, what alternative solutions have you explored to try to resolve the issues that you're having with your windows right now? I don't know. We keep the shutters closed. I put towels down when it rains. My husband used that foam stuff and sprayed where the windows come together to keep the dust and the air and the water out. Interesting. Those are all real deal things too that have happened. Duct tape. I've literally seen people duct tape where the sash comes together, which is called the check rail, and all the way around their frames where it hits the sheetrock to try to keep dust and air and water out.
Good old duct tape.
Huh?
I said good old duct tape.
That's it, man. So those are the things you're trying to vet out, right? What alternative solutions? I pretend like my windows aren't there because they're so ugly. We just keep the blinds shut. Well, are you really happy with your house looking like the Bat Cave, most days? Would that be nice if you could get some natural light in here? Would that be a nice change to your environment that you spend so much time in? So that's what we're trying to get out here. And there will be many, 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 many more things that people offer up than what they do right now with flooring. So let me ask you, Dwayne Deuce, keeping your blinds closed all day, not looking at the windows, pretending they're not there, using duct tape, using towels, using foam, using weather strip. Have you received the results that you'd hope for by doing all that stuff? Okay, great. So this should sound familiar. So is there any doubt in your mind that choosing to replace your windows or siding is the only real solution to fixing the problems you're experiencing right now with your windows? Excellent. If not, We got some work to do. Where do we go? Right back up into methodology. So there's some,
Can you show us what that would look like real fast?
what's
Like
that?
to resell that basically. So
Sure.
if someone says, I don't know, I'm not real sure if, if we think this is the solution at that point.
What is the solution? Keeping the blinds closed?
Right. Oh, okay. That's what you would do in the home.
No, I'm asking you, well, like, so we can role play it. What's the solution? What's the alternative solution? So I'm asking you, so I just said, so, Deuce, what alternative solutions have you explored to try to resolve the issues you have with your windows right now?
Oh yeah, just keeping the blinds closed, basically. Just try to keep the heat out.
Okay. Does that negatively impact you anyway, or do you like the absence of sunlight inside your house?
I mean, I'd love to be able to have the blinds open.
Okay. So continuing to keep the blinds closed and everything kind of hold up, for lack of a better word, like boarded up and closed up, is that, giving you the results that you hope for? If there's something we could do where you could, get improved efficiency, you could get some of that natural light coming in without all the, the harmful side effects of the heat and the radiant, sun. Is that a possible solution that you'd be willing to entertain, as opposed to keeping the blind shut and everything closed up?
Yes. Yeah, I'd be willing to entertain it for sure.
So if that what they're saying, I don't know if that answers your question. I don't know if that really was what the example you were looking for.
Yeah, I think it's basically like when you go in to ask that question. So, is there any doubt in your mind that replacing your windows at this point is really the only solution that's going to help you, and
Okay.
allow you to get past the problems that you're experiencing? Yeah, I guess you would just continue to kind of talk about what they're doing already at this point.
Yeah. So if I ask you that, let me ask you, Deuce, is there any doubt in your mind that choosing to replace your windows is the really only solution to fixing the problems you're experiencing? If I ask you that and you answer whatever you're going to answer.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if replacing the I'm trying to think of what someone would say.
Oh, let's play that out.
Yeah.
Just say what you're going to say.
I'm just not sure if replacing them is necessary, or if there's any other option to fix them. At this point.
Yeah, that's totally fair, Deuce. I totally get what you're saying, and let me ask you and this might work out, real life. So play it out with me. Let me ask you, what other options do you see available to you to fix these issues that you're telling me about?
Aside from duct tape and the can of foam.
They're options.
Yeah. I don't know at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it would make sense to, if my windows are in that kind of shape, that replacing them is probably the solution that we need.
Well, I think so, but it's not my house, it's not my money, of course. So what I think really doesn't matter. You have options available to you. You could have all the glass replaced in every single window in the house. Now, on average, for a 3 foot by 5 foot window, that just replacing the glass, which isn't going to, that's not going to solve any of the underlying problems with these aluminum frames and the conductivity that you told me about, where just the frame just radiates that heat and cold inside the house. So that problem's going to stay, but at least you could invest in some upgraded, higher efficiency glass. That's going to cost you on average for a 3 foot, 5 foot window, 3 foot by 5 foot. It's going to cost you on average $300 to $500.
Yep.
The warranty you'll get with that type of work is going to be 5 years. So even the best glass company in town, Bad Ziegler, they don't give a longer than 5 year warranty on that $500 purchase. So that's one option. And, admittedly, full disclosure, it's only going to solve about half the problem you're having, because the leaky frames, the rattling in the frames, the thing that you had to use the spray foam, you tried to use that for, it's not going to solve any of that. All it's going to do is put new glass into your existing frames that are still 30 years old.
Yeah.
You have the option of doing solar screens. So, a solar screen, it's kind of like closing the curtains, but from the outside, right? It's going to be super dark. I don't know if have you ever driven by a home that has solar screens?
Yes.
What did you think about the appearance of the exterior?
Yeah, it's not super aesthetically pleasing.
That's a pretty.
Squares around the.
Was it a friend or a family member's house that you drove by that had them?
No, I see them around. I've seen them on.
That's a pretty friendly way to put it. Yeah, to me, I mean, it looks like a compound. I mean, it looks institutional.
Yeah.
Right. You can't see in the windows. It's all blacked out. I mean, it kind of looks like a dungeon to me. But yeah, I mean, it's not very aesthetically pleasing. I think it's an understatement, but it's a fair way to say it for sure. So you have the option of doing that. It helps out quite a bit because it's basically like draping a tarp in front of your windows, right? Can't see in, you can't see out. Those generally, for the good solar screens, $600 to $700 a window.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So that, again, kind of like with just replacing the glass, it might afford you some benefit, but it's going to have a significant drawback of your house is literally going to become like a dungeon from the inside and the outside.
Yeah.
Another option that we see people kind of tinker around with before they, think through it is, you can recalc all your windows. Whether you have the capability, would you do something like that, or would you hire somebody to do that?
I mean, if that was the solution that we decided to go with, I mean, I'd probably just do it. We'd probably just do it ourselves.
Okay. So you'll save, that'll be dirt cheap, but it's addressing less of the problem than replacing the glass. If you went and got some really good caulk, spent maybe $5 a tube on some caulk, you're going to need quite a few tubes to get around every single window. But if you did that, you're going to help with some of the drafts, maybe some of the leaks, but you're still going to have 98% of the underlying problem because you're going to have the existing frame and the existing glass that's still going to be there. And meanwhile, you're going to spend a Saturday caulking the exterior around, every single one of your windows. If you really want to do a bang up job, you could recalc the interior, but again, you're going to even use more caulk in another Saturday, and it's going to have very limited impact on the overall, efficiency. It's certainly not, unless you're some kind of magician, closet caulking god, you're going to have probably maybe not as a pleasing aesthetic as you might hope, because caulk is so difficult to work with,
Yeah.
So, that's an option. It's very time intensive and it's going to have some cost to it. And in terms of effect, it's going to have very limited impact on the overall efficiency or improvement of any of the problems that you're having.
Yeah.
And aside from that, those things, I can't think in 11 and a half years of doing this, things that I've heard, other than the real wacky off the wall, like duct tape on the inside, foam around the windows, the weather strip you buy at Home Depot. I've had people put that all the way around the windows on the inside. So you talk about aesthetics. I mean, we're off the page at that point. I mean, it's really starting to detract from the way the house looks,
Yeah.
But those are all options, those, I mean, you asked me, so I'm trying to give you some good, professional feedback. And those are all options that I've heard people explore in terms of ways to fix whatever problem they might be having with their windows.
That's very helpful because I could see that coming up a lot. Because people
One-
are they're gonna want to explore different ways they can save money and still accomplish their goal. So for you to be able to outline how it can help in certain ways, but not overall, I see that being very helpful, and being prepared with those answers to those objections is going to be important.
Yeah, and that's why I said let's play this out, because that's exactly what the homeowner's going to say. Oh, I don't know. Okay, well, let me take a few minutes and have a little chit chat with you, and I'll tell you what people have tried. The
Yeah.
only thing I didn't mention in there is tinting.
Mhm.
And tinting.
Go through that one, Ryan. Go through that one, please.
Tinting's probably the worst. So one more thing I just thought of, Deuce, was, I've had several clients talk about window tinting. They have crazy like ceramic films now and all kinds of craziness where you can get really high up on the efficiency. But again, kind of like the glass, it's the reverse now. We're dealing with the glass, but we're not dealing with the frame or seal failure on the glass. So what in actuality ends up happening is when you put a tint on your existing windows, it almost creates, like what's that movie where they age way more than they're supposed to? I don't know. You know what I'm talking about, where it's somebody's 10 years old. It's like dog years, right? Somebody's 10, but they're really 50. So that's what tint does to your windows, right? Is when in fact, if you were to replace your window with a new window, it would actually void your warranty if you put window film on a new window. Did you know that? You may have not known that.
I didn't know that.
Most people don't. But any one of our window manufacturers that we've ever represented, they have all had one thing in common, regardless of the price point, regardless of the frame material. They all specifically have written into their warranty, if you put aftermarket film on your new windows, you immediately void the warranty on that product. And the reasoning is that it overexposes all the things that are engineered into a window to create efficiency. Because think about it, on your window, you have an interior pane and an exterior pane. That gas, that in between that seal, in between the two panes of glass, there's all kinds of gas and coatings that's working to give you modern day efficiency. If you put a screen or a film, on the exterior of your glass, all you did is take all that heat that's already bouncing around in there and the cold that gas is working to prevent from going into your house. All it does is take all that energy and all that stress, 12, 14 hours a day while the sun's out. It takes all of that and just intensifies it like crazy, like exponentially. Because now there's a super efficient film on the window that's trapping all that energy in between the window panes. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So what you're doing is, in fact, in actuality, you're quickly increasing the aging and the deterioration of your window.
Wow. I was unaware that was how that worked.
So it is an option. Again, it's expensive, especially if you go with some of the new modern film. You're going to pay easily $600 to $700 a window to have that film installed. Meanwhile, you have the same glass, that has the same propensity of failing and getting all foggy and condensated in between. You have the same frame. So it really is the Band-Aid of all Band-Aids, because you're not, with glass replacement, at least you're changing the glass, right? With this, all you're doing is taking the same glass, the same frame, and literally just putting a coating on it. And because of what I just shared with you, even if this isn't a highly advanced modern day, ultra efficient replacement window, even if it's just a builder grade window, you're still bringing a crazy amount of stress to that interior space between the glass panes.
That makes sense.
So, and again, at a $600 to $700 price point per window, I mean, I don't know, to be changing so little about the window. And I've had so many clients that have gone the film route because they thought it was the economical, wiser option. And it still peels, no matter how good the company is that puts it on. I've never had anybody at least have one or two windows where the film is just completely failing, because it got hot and the film is now peeling off. So it's not a foolproof option, and you're still paying $600 to $700 per window.
And I'm guessing in addition to all that, you're still not getting the sunlight you could get in with an efficient window.
Well, no, actually, believe it now or not, now especially as film technology has advanced, you can get a film that produces similar results in light transmission and efficiency.
Nice. Okay.
So it's just like everything. Technology has advanced significantly, but again, you're paying $600 to $700 and you still have every single underlying issue that you had before you put the tint on.
I mean, that's valuable information, because I mean, I'm putting myself in the seat of the homeowner, and I'm going to be looking for every way possible I can get the result I want, and still save money.
Sure. So let me ask you, Deuce, I mean, now that we just took a little trip around the industry and I saved you weeks of your life and time from having to have a quote from every one of those people, I just basically broke it down for you. Let me ask you, I mean, in your opinion, which of those would you entertain as opposed to, replacing the windows and doing a window replacement project?
I don't think I would. I don't think any of them sound like if I plan on living in this house for more than 5 to 10 years, I don't think any of those sound like the solution that we need. So sounds like replacement windows is the way to go at this point.
Yeah, I think you're on the right track. And, I mean, if you think about it, all these stories that I just shared with you are real. And I know all that information because I've been told that by my clients. So you wouldn't be the first one to try all these things and have them not work on you. And if you notice, I said clients. These people have all purchased windows from us because all those other things didn't work, right? Yeah. So they became clients. So it's one of those things where, yeah, I mean, it's trying some of those things that kind of one-offs, or maybe things that, oh, thank goodness I don't have to replace my window. Well, again, $600 to $700 per window, that's still a pretty healthy chunk of change for a Band-Aid or a temporary fix.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Good. So just to recap, there's no doubt in your mind that you need to replace these windows as the only real solution to fixing all these problems that you're having.
No doubt. Cool.
Excellent. So that, and see, it's like everything, man. It's, anything, any good outcome that you want is going to require work. And that was a very realistic role play of what happens in the house. I don't know how long it was, probably 5 minutes, maybe more.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably.
So sometimes the point is when people have a need and they have a question that needs to be answered, the timetable is up to you and them. There is no like, oh my gosh, we spent 30 seconds on this, we got to move on. That one thing could be the reason that they buy or don't buy from you.
Yeah.
So the point is you can never underestimate the importance, especially if somebody is attentive and they're not trying to switch gears and they're asking good questions about, especially if it's one specific thing. If they're asking you questions, deep questions about one specific thing, that's probably their whole objection. If you can overcome that, you probably earned their business. And this, I can't say I've really had it happen because I can't recall, but this one thing could be the difference of us getting your business or not. because I took 5 minutes. It doesn't matter what I say from this point on because I've earned so much trust and credibility with you. It doesn't matter. I could
Yeah.
bomb the rest of what I do and you could still say yes. Just because I took that 5, 10, 8 minutes, whatever it was, and dealt with what maybe you didn't know and what I didn't know was your main objection. I don't know if there's other things I can do instead of replacing my windows. You just helped me through that. So now I have no other objections. Let's go.
Yep.
So you never know how even something as seemingly, unimpactful as this could be the only objection, which means it warrants all the time that they're willing to give it.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That's good.
Anything
Hey,
else?
can you,
What?
I was just gonna ask if you could zoom,
Is it small?
it is small. Mhm.
Is that
Oh.
better?
Yes, there it is. Yeah.
Okay, so we're pretty good on that. And if you have any questions, you can go back to this and replay it. But those are all real deal. Like that's not fabricated information. That's not fabricated stuff that you won't ever hear ever in your lifetime. That is all real deal stuff. I mean, that's all real deal stuff that people will consider as they do research on the internet about alternatives to replacing windows,
Yep.
Where were we? Commitment to action. So from here, it's the same thing. Y'all are going to have some new slides to memorize. A few of the slides will be the same, but it's the same process. We go through commitment to trust. Right after the people slide, we ask, so based on everything we've talked about, our reviews, our standing in the community, the way we've been recognized by our counterparts in the industry, is there any question that we would be able to accomplish this project to your 100% and complete satisfaction? Okay, great. Then we go right into product, commitment to solution. And then what you want before I leave your home. I think this is in the Pentec methodology, isn't it? 5 A, B, C, D. No. Yeah.
No, it is. I mean, commitment to resolution is, but not, I don't think we have that many. Oh, no. Yeah, that's all there.
Is
It's
that
just a
all
little
familiar?
different. It's just a little different,
It's a
based
little
on the
different, yeah.
technology that's gone into the Pentec product, along with the, certified installation and 2 warranties. Is there any question?
And the B should be new because you've already designed the project with Pentec. Right?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
correct. Yep.
Yes.
So that's maybe new. Well, I'm glad you feel that way. We just asked their commitment to resolution, right? Is
Yep.
this the best window solution for your home? Yep, no, I think it is. Okay, great. Well, Deuce, I'm glad you feel that way. Next, we're going to spend some time designing your project. I have enough information at this point to make some specific recommendations. Now, as I mentioned before, this is your home, your money, and of course, your decision. So I would absolutely appreciate it when I suggest something, you give me your honest opinion, good or bad. That way, if I suggest something you don't care for, we can make changes accordingly to make sure we design the project exactly the way you want. Can I count on you to do that for me? Great, thank you so much. This way you will know exactly what you want and don't want before I leave your home. Then we go into, I'm glad to be here without any promise from you. There's just one thing, a request for you. If for any reason you decide you're not going to do business with us, would you tell me that exact reason before I leave? Thank you for that. In return, I promise to accept your no as graciously as I accept your yes. So what I would do is just for y'all is just go through the methodology. It's really only a couple points and just highlight the areas that y'all need to work on that are different, you know?
Yeah.
So this is kind of called building the dream. That's where we're walking around. That's where I have my little spiel about the looking through the lens of 3 factors here. Aesthetics, efficiency, and cost, budget.
Yeah.
So we do that. Oh, measure and design. Okay, it's in there. I was looking for where's measure. I'm like, how did I leave that out? This is always something you want to do too, is try to get a whole home measure for now kind of coming full circle. You see what we talked about this morning, right?
Yeah.
If I have 50 clients and I stuck to my process and did a whole home measure like I should, if they allow me, if they have time, it doesn't take much longer, honestly, than measuring 10 windows or 5 windows. If you do that whole home measure, now for my 50 clients that I have to call about sunrise, I can do that all from my home. I don't need to go back out to measure. And it's the same thing when they call you for subsequent phases. Hey, Ryan, I need those couple extra windows we measured. I just want to do the living room and the dining room for right now. You took measurements on them when you came out last time. Can you just work those up for me, you know, and send me over a price? Awesome. Boom, boom, done. So a best practice, and it's not realistic, it's not going to happen every time, but it should probably 70 to 80% of the time, is you get a whole home measure.
Now, definition of whole home measure would be measuring every window, even
Correct.
though that's not what they want at the time.
Correct.
Okay.
So how would you present that to, you know, if they did have the time, but they weren't necessarily wanting to replace every window at that appointment date? Like, how would you present that in a way that, you know, would make sense to them, and, you know, at least do your best to convince them that that makes sense?
And make them open to it, obviously. Yeah.
So Dwayne Deuce, I know we're only looking at these 8 windows. You know, really, once we have the design specifics down, designing the rest of the house is simple. So the way that we best, you know, can serve our clients, and the way that we found out is best suited for the client, is to basically, while I'm here today, is just measure every single window. It doesn't take any more time. It'll take maybe an additional 5 or 10 minutes tops. But that way, when you're ready, since we know that you're doing this project in phases, when you're ready for the future phases, and I can tell you, I don't think I have one client where we've done a phase and not been called out to do more windows. It just expedites the whole process. It's a whole bunch less of time requirement on your part, because I already have the measurements in a file for you that we keep on hand. So the next time you need 3, 4, 5, how many ever windows, all you have to do is call me and I'll have it all in your file for you already. So are you okay with doing that? Just since I am here and we're all together right now, you okay if I just measure everything and then we can select the ones that you want to put into this first phase of the project?
What do you do about the windows you can't get to?
That'll happen very infrequently, and you get a fat max.
I have no idea what that is, but I'm sure you'll explain it later.
It's a wider tape measure.
Okay.
So for those ones that you need to measure that are way high up, like in a foyer or a great room or something,
Sure.
you can do that with a fat max. And then the only other ones that you probably won't ever be able to get to are the ones in like the dormers. You know, the little like,
Oh yeah.
little like fake front thing looking on the front of the house. Usually they're just little pieces with 3 sides and a roof, and they die into the roof line.
Hmm.
And those you can send them to me and I can usually ballpark those just from a picture.
And I know there's a good answer for this. I'm just curious for my own knowledge at this point in the learning process. What's the overall difference? I mean, I know that we're going to take measurements there, but then we're going to send somebody back to take measurements. What's the difference in those two?
That's a good question. So Dwayne, for the sake of our time together here today and just expediting that as much as possible and using your time efficiently, for the sake of what I'm doing for pricing, I'm measuring to the nearest inch. Okay, when we do a technical measure, one of our tech measure will come out and do a detailed measurement. They measure the window 8 different ways. So they measure 3 times horizontally, top, middle, bottom. They measure 3 times vertically, left, middle, right. And then they measure diagonally, corner to corner, to determine, the basically plumb level or plumb and square of the window. So those measurements are for the sake of fabrication. The measurements I'm doing here today are for the sake of pricing. So if you decide to become a client of ours, we will need to accomplish a tech measure, which does need to be done from the interior. But we'll deal with that when we get to it. So yeah, if your window's 71 and 3/8, you put 71.
Again, this may be a stupid question. I don't know at this point, but if we're in the design process, the fun part you were saying earlier, and they want to put in a window that there is no current opening for, but it's going to require some construction to open it wider or change that opening. Is that something we do?
It depends. That's a whole nother.
Okay.
A whole nother
I'm jumping too far ahead. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So generally, if it's extending like something just barely down, or maybe making 2 windows into one, generally we can do that kind of stuff. But there's factors that have to be considered, like the brick or the stucco outside, the rock outside. Do we have additional rock to match that? So there's complications. The way that I would prefer those to be handled, that I've asked ISC to handle them, they don't really do too much, but ideally I want them to tell the prospective client, hey, here's a handyman, or here's a remodeler that we recommend that can do the reframing and that. Call them, get a price for constructing the opening. If you still want to do it after that point, call us back and we'll give you a price on the windows. That's the way I would want that to be handled. For whatever reason, it's a challenge. I don't know why. Seems like pretty straightforward, but what happens?
The other thing we got to keep in mind, obviously, that you haven't hit on too much yet, but we've got to keep in mind building codes of, what type of window can be where, and all that needs to be kept in mind too when we're doing this, correct?
Yes, that's what I was saying. Remember I gave you the computer analogy?
Right.
When you're doing the measure, you got like eight processes going on concurrently, just like a computer.
Sure.
And you got to be thinking about mins and maxes. You got to be egress. You got to think about colors, configurations, all that, tempering, all those things you got to be considering as you're walking around doing the design. What was I saying?
Sorry, I threw you off there a little bit.
Oh, that's all right. The way that those usually happen, unfortunately, is we come out and say, this is way too much construction. That's not our specialty. It's not our forte. And we either end up doing a no demo, which we shouldn't do, or we give them a price and we never hear from them again because they never follow up to call anybody to do the remodeling. Which is why I want them, the ISC, to make that referral first. You get a price, because most people think, oh, all I got to do is open my window this and that, and make the opening this much bigger, that much smaller. It should only cost like $200, and it's 2,800. You know, and I tell people that it's always less than you anticipate, because you just think, okay, we just magically move it in or move it out. You got framing, you got sheetrock, you got paint, you got brick or stucco or siding on the exterior. You know, this seemingly small project has a big price tag, and most people at that point are like, nah, I'm out, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we went out and gave them a price on a window that they're never going to, you know, change anyways. So that's that. So that's building a dream.
So
Sorry,
when
go ahead.
when ISC doesn't do that and we're in the home and that's what they're wanting, would we make that referral at that point? I mean, we'd give them a price and then make that referral and basically put the ball in their court to get a contractor out there to understand what the price would be
Yeah.
for the
And
reconstruction.
yeah, that'll be one of the ones you hear back on every 1 out of every 5 years.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because of exactly what I just said. They
I'm
think
assuming
like,
that,
oh, I'm only moving it 6 inches. I'm only moving it a foot. Well, a foot with all those things factored in is $3,000, not $35.
roughly, Ryan, how often does that come up?
I mean, it ebbs and flows. Hopefully that is another one of these things we can weed out with they ask you answer.
It seems like with that knowledge though, and understanding and kind of setting their expectations in the home when they are asking for something like that, you might actually be able to, you know, overcome that by possibly, you know, talking them out of that being something that they want to do.
Yep.
I mean,
That's a very good point. That's the most common result.
yeah.
Oh, you're kidding me? You're telling me that's going to cost $3,000 potentially to move it 6 inches? Okay, no, we're not going to do that. Let's just measure it as is, and we'll just forget that whole idea.
Yeah.
And it sounds kind of mean, like, you know, but the best thing, you know, again, I love this whole like concept or this philosophy. The best thing we can do for somebody is tell them something they don't want to hear. Right? Because think of the alternative. The alternative, you're blowing smoke, you're lying, you know, you're getting somebody excited for no reason. So
it goes back to the 3 areas you were saying earlier when you're going to do the inspection: looks, efficiency, and then it goes back to that last one, cost.
Yep. Yeah.
But I mean, that's ahead of this, but right? Yeah.
So if you do that correctly, I forgot who it was. Well, I think it happened to both of them. But if you do it correctly, you can talk them out of it and they still like you. Right. Now you'll have those people that get pissed because you just like insulted, you know, what they've spent 40 hours on Pinterest on last week, you know, but if you do it correctly, you can get people to still be like, oh man, you know, dang, we're so excited about that, but I'm not willing to spend that much money for 6 inches of window. So let's forget about it. Let's just keep what we, you know, keep along the track we have. But I forgot, it was both Ginny and Chris, and I forgot what the issue was, but I told them, I'm like, you need to go in. Oh, garden windows. It was both garden windows for both of them. And I said, hey, you need to go in there and tell them this. And I, you know, rambled it off for them. And I said, you need to talk them out of doing that. And they were kind of like, Chris was cool with it, but Ginny was like, but why? They want it. And, you know, it was a nightmare. And she ended up, you know, going round and round with them and then finally talking them out of it. But sometimes, like I said, sometimes the best thing we can do is tell people something they don't want to hear.
Would you mind kind of walking through that, Ryan? What exactly is a garden window, and what would be that situation that Ginny had to explain?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I think it'd be more damage than anything at this point, because if you don't,
okay,
yeah, the fact that you don't know what a garden window is, you know, that tells us where we're at in the process. And I'm not saying you should,
No, I got you.
I'm just saying, we're just confusing, we're just piling on
Okay.
stuff you don't need to know right now.
Okay.
But the
I'll
point
take your word
is,
for it.
yeah, the main thing, the main idea is we can be honest and upfront with people by
Okay.
telling them that garden windows don't have a good reputation. They're a service nightmare. They're
Okay.
service intensive. They cost 3 to 4 times the cost of a normal, comparably sized plain, just flush window. So we're not doing anything wrong or doing anything sleazy. All we're doing is being honest. And through that process, we talk people into the proper direction they should go. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm sure we'll have that conversation one day, but I don't know what we need to do right now.
I'm down with not cramming any more information I need at this point. That's good with me.
Yeah. But that's the idea, is that we can't be afraid to tell people something they don't want to hear, because sometimes that's where our integrity, our honesty shines through.
I mean, this will be where doing this enough to where I'm confident about that information. I don't have a problem doing that as long as I get to a point where I'm confident about that information.
Well, you didn't know a thing about Pentec, and
no, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. It means doing it and learning it to get there. So I hear where you're going.
You'll get there.
Yeah, I agree.
So we do not the heat lamp. I'm going to take that. I can't believe that's even in there. So window demo, and did I say that? I don't think we ever closed the loop on that. So the last thing we do before we give a price, remember we use the window analyzer during the inspection, right? On their windows.
Yeah.
The last thing we do after the window demo is we use the window analyzer on our window. So we've talked about the window demo it's a high excitement, highly anticipated part of the whole consultation, right? You're getting them excited, they're touching it, they're feeling it, they're operating it, they're seeing this is the window that could be in my house. Now we back that up with some data about how the glass performs on our sample, which will be the exact glass that goes into their house, versus what the ratings on their window was before. And that's all in the window analyzer video, talking about how to take pictures of it and then reuse that when it gets down to the window demo. So that's the very last thing we do on the window demo, is use the window analyzer on the demo window, on the sample.
And you're saying take pictures of the original data to compare. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And, I covered in the video, but take it with something that's discernible in the background. A crazy tablecloth, a piece of furniture.
So it doesn't look manipulated in any way.
Huh?
So it doesn't look like you manipulated it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, so we're on G, window demo, using an analyzer to compare results and have them formulate their own opinions of how much of a difference our window would make for them in comfort, efficiency, equilibrium, as well as HVAC wear and tear. So then we go to our commitment question for our product. Do you believe this window or siding will meet all of your expectations and provide the solutions you're hoping for? So is this the exact window you want to put in your home? And then everything else is the same, minus the cart being different. Shopping cart, pre-close, and then we go right into what we've all been role playing the last couple Thursdays. So there's really not that much. It's really commitment to need, commitment to action, and then just some slight variances that we already talked about in, I guess really nothing in trust. So really it's just resolution. And in resolution, it's really just B, because they're D and E are in the methodology for Pentech for sure.
Yeah, B and C, I think are the big
Yeah.
changes.
Yeah. So it's really not that much, and just understanding the flow. That's why we did this again, was to help you understand the flow of the appointment.
Yeah. So it seems like we're really at this stage in our training, like we are relearning the new, like the methodology for a window appointment at this point. And then a lot of other stuff will start to come together, like when we go through the presentation, because the presentation there's a lot of differences in
Oh yeah.
the Prezzo.
Yeah. That's probably that's what I was going to end with.
Okay,
Or
gotcha.
move on to after this, because we've done the process, we've done the methodology. The last big component, those are really the three biggest components: process, methodology, and presentation. I'm gonna call them the 3 Ps. Like that? It's good. It's good.
But you had an M in there.
Huh?
Process, methodology, and presentation.
Oh yeah, dang it. I'm gonna have to come up with another word for methodology.
PMP.
PMP, man.
PMP.
PMP.
Nice. So the last big component is presentation. And then once y'all have a couple days to work on this and get this stuff all dialed in, then we can start getting into product. There's my third P.
PM double P.
M triple P.
I guess methodology is process. I mean, that's basically
Yeah.
process as well. So you can
Yeah.
include that. Just call it the 3 Ps.
Yep. So y'all need a copy of this methodology, right? You don't have this?
I think you sent it to us this morning as well. It was in that email, but I believe you did make a couple of edits just now as we've been going through.
Okay.
That's correct. Yeah, you sent it, but you've made some changes to it, obviously, as we've gone through it, just like Deuce just said. Thank you, Deuce. I just repeated what you said.
Hey, that's a part of the process right there. You're nailing it.
It sounded like it was an original thought, Dwayne. So good job on that.
That's what I try and do. Take somebody else's thought and make it my own.
So what I'm hearing you say is
All right. Let's see. I'm gonna do this for you, Dwayne. Instead of methodology, I'm gonna call it mythology. Just for old time's sake.
Just when I was getting used to saying methodology, you're gonna throw me back.
Dwayne's biggest problem in training was not knowing methodology. It was methodology.
Yeah, Ryan informed me that I was referring to meth when I did that. I did not know I was doing that.
methodology. Nice.
Yeah.
Sounds like a Breaking Bad episode.
I know, but that was a good series, man.
Yeah, it was.
Like the only person in America that didn't see that.
You didn't see those?
Hmm.
Oh man.
Okay, so I just sent you the methodology. Do we need a break? Or are we good? We're at 1 o'clock. Dang, that was fast.
I mean, I guess we could do a 5-minute bio or 3-minute bio or whatever.
Okay. Let's do that real
I'll
quick.
take that.
and We'll get back and get into the prezo.
Okay.
Which
Yep.
you will be recording, I'm assuming, right?
Well, I think I've already recorded. I don't think we've made any updates because I think I recorded it with either Chris or Ginny, the window prezo. So you may have that already in that learning playlist on YouTube.
Okay.
I can verify real quick, but I just wanted to talk through some of it real quick, and y'all can listen to the audio on it on your own.
Sounds good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks. Okay, let me do this. I'll make this smaller. Okay, so in the time we have left, which we'll have a hard stop at like 2. Time we have left, I want to just go through the presentation. I'll dig up that audio. I don't have appointments. I'm just really going to be working in my office for the rest of the day, trying to get caught up on some crap. So you'll have audio for this that you can use to do the practice you're going to have to do. But we'll run through it just quickly on a high level, just with some commentary, and then y'all can get the verbiage from the recordings. Here's our opening page. Oh wait, you don't have a screen share. My bad. My bad. Now you see it?
Yes.
Makes
Yes.
a little more sense.
Oh, now I see.
What?
Oh no, I was just being sarcastic.
Oh. Good one. Good one. Okay. So y'all got a good, is that big enough? So y'all got a good view of it?
Yes.
And I added you to the collaborate, so you have an email from me that you'll have to accept, and that way you can open this window demo or window presentation. Okay.
Now, did I understand you correctly that you just said you had this in your learning center where we could watch it with your verbiage? Am I correct?
I
Did I
gotta find
misunderstand
it.
that?
I gotta
Okay.
find
All
where
right.
that is. I'm almost positive I did that for Chris and Ginny, but it's not in the video library, the playlist, the learning playlist on YouTube. It's
Okay.
not in there, so I have to go find it.
All right.
Okay, y'all can see the presentation though, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So this is the opening page. Here we go to the 6 factors between you and a great experience. And here's where we say, now Deuce, out of these 6, first of all, let me ask you, did I miss anything? Is there anything that because this is coming from 32 years of experience and talking to a whole mess of people, is there anything that we missed outside of these 6 factors? Okay, get your confirmation that we got everything. Then, Deuce, let me ask you, in your opinion, as you look at this project, which of these 3 would you say are the most important to you? And I'm gonna write down in my consultation form, Deuce, company, install, warranty. Okay, Dwayne, what about you? For the same question, what would you say about, in your opinion, which are the top 3? Install, investment, product. Okay, perfect. So write those down and we're good to go, right? That's all information that we're siloing in case we need to use it later.
Okay.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Then we go on to our 3 quotes. Y'all have seen this before, nothing new. This is our company story. Seen that, nothing new. 4 C's, nothing new. Nothing new. Is this in the Pentec?
A variation of it,
Okay.
pretty close.
Here's our people slide. After this slide is where we ask the commitment to trust. All good?
Makes sense so far.
This is the slide I tell people. Obviously, it's a little bit different for me, but for you, you can do the same thing. Hey, folks, this is one of my favorite slides. You know, when I built this presentation, this is probably the one I'm most proud of. Because I don't care how long you want to sit here and get window quotes for the next 6 months. You'll not find one company that's going to be able to show you a picture of the person that's going to be out to install your windows. And that's strictly from the fact they don't know who's working for them tomorrow, next week, or next month. We, on the other hand, have people that have worked with us, that have tenure with us, that are proud to work at the company they work at. And every day they take that to work with them. We take better care of them than the industry says. We treat them like humans instead of waste. And as a result, they stick around. So I do. That's exactly what I say on this slide. And I love it. You know, and you can say the same thing. Because it is such a differentiator. There is no other window company, and they may, I mean, people shop us. They may latch onto this and somebody that shopped us sees it and they copy it. But to my knowledge, and I still say this, and I've never heard anybody say, oh yeah, this company showed me pictures of their installers. So I still think we're cutting edge here. But it's true. You know, you don't have to create the slide to tell them, hey, this is my favorite slide. I mean, that's another thing I say here is we could not be us if it wasn't for these folks. Because I could come in here and show you some pretty pictures, tell you about all these great things we're going to do. But if these people don't back up what we say, we're worthless. So these people carry our reputation in their pockets every single day they go out to install in our clients' homes. And if it weren't for their quality of craftsmanship and their commitment to taking exceptional care of every one of our clients, we wouldn't be who we are.
So these are the only window install, like these are the window installation teams that we're looking at here?
Well, they are. We have Albert, who's a freaking magician. He's done a couple of my crazy client projects where we've had to like rebuild whole walls and everything because of rot. And Albert works for Maria.
Gotcha.
So it took me forever to get these pictures, as stupid as that sounds, but I just tell people, hey, you know, probably our most technical crew is Albert and his crew. They work for Maria. But we need to get some updated pictures. I'd love to have this for Pentec and Hardy, but I don't, but it's so valuable, man. I mean, there's nobody that can show who's coming out to install your product. That's just not normal in this industry. So this is the installer slide. I love it. Favorite by far. This is the process of how we do it. So we talk about that. You'll hear in the audio. Again, process on this. I can't draw on this, I don't think. Play, add slide. Shoot. I think, yeah. I'll have to show you how I do that. I think I have a video of it, but on the upper right picture, I explain our 3-seal system to the exterior. And I don't know how I can highlight. I'm on my Mac, so I don't know how to highlight. No. shape box table line. It's a silly color. Oh, there we go. What are we doing here? Click to draw straight lines, drag to draw curved lines. Oh no. Yeah, I'm gonna jack this up if I try to do this. I'll see if I can explain it. So this picture, I talk about one person being inside, one person being outside. Talk about how good they are with caulking right here. On this one, I talk about, and I get out my Apple Pencil and I notate, hey, every single one of your windows is going to be accomplished with a 3-seal system to the exterior. And that's our commitment to quality of installation, because we don't want you to experience any kind of deterioration of efficiency because we don't take time or we don't know how to put in a window correctly. So we do a specific 3-seal system to the exterior to make sure that your installation quality is on par with your window quality. So the first of those seals is this right here, that foam. And I have my Apple Pencil and I draw it in red. I draw a little mark on the foam, you know, kind of like a little scribble, right? Exactly where the foam is. And then I draw 1 and circle it. After we put that foam, now this foam, it's a low warp, elastomeric foam. So it's the highest quality of foams as far as foam goes, right? We're not using a cheap bottom of the barrel stuff. So we put the foam in on all 4 sides of the window. And then to protect that foam, and that foam acts as a weather and an air, you know, water barrier. And it sprays in and it expands. But the nice thing about the higher quality foam that we use, it's still pliable. So it provides a really nice buffer around the window between the wall of your house, if in case and when the wall moves, you know, when the soil gets dry, when the soil gets wet. So when those things happen, that foam acts like a bumper and it allows it to move. It doesn't spray in there and get so rigid that it's going to cause your window to crack, which is common with, you know, lower quality foams. So after that first seal, which is all the way around all 4 sides of every single window, we then put on this capstock material that you see right here. So that capstock material is precision matched to the color of your exterior of your window. And it goes around all 4 sides. See this little channel or this kerf area? It snaps into there. And then it goes back to the wall and it gets caulked and sealed here and caulked and sealed here. So that snap trim is all the way around all 4 sides to protect the foam. That's your second barrier. And then I draw a 2 and circle it. And then I actually skipped ahead. The third thing is we're going to come and we're going to caulk and seal all of this, all 4 sides, all the way around, and then seal the snap trim back to the window as well on all 4 sides of every single window. And then I draw a 3. And then I usually circle with my Apple pen down here. I circle Greg taking the trash away. And when we go around, so I just start here go down, just like you'd read a book, go to top, go down. And you see Greg taking away all these, all the trash and used materials. We take everything with us when we leave. We don't use your yard. We don't use your trash can. We don't throw it under a bush somewhere and pretend like we didn't see it. We take every single thing with us when we leave. So that's what I kind of talk about there. But that 3-seal system, that's significant. That's how this slide needs to be done every single time. Then as of right now, these are kind of the horse we're riding. So we got warranty. These are manufacturer's warranties. We got our Best Buy Southwest warranty. We got the cost versus value report reference, talking about the national average cost of a window is $1938. We have some geographic specific data.
And you go through all of this in the video, right?
Yeah, I got to find
Okay.
it, make sure I didn't get rid of it, but yes.
Okay.
And if not, I'll have to create a new one, but I'm
Gotcha.
almost positive I did this already.
Okay.
So this is specific to San Antonio. And it's the information provided by the cost versus value report. Something right here on the wood window where it says 67% CVV, that's cost versus value. It's just their way of saying recouped cost. Then you can talk about 1938 per vinyl window. Talk about ROI because these all go in order. What slide am I on? I'm on 16. Yeah. These all go in order of this. So if you're curious as to what format the slides are following, I did it right in the order of this. Here's your ROI slide. Here's your product slide.
That's return on investment over what period of time?
Ownership. So I think it's like, excuse me, 15 years, something like that.
Okay.
And that's not just energy savings. That's energy savings plus resale. So yeah, you don't want to mislead somebody because they're going to look at you crazy if they've done research and be like, "You're telling me I'm going to recoup 70% of what I spend on my utility bill?" And that's not going to happen.
So it's a combination of that and resale over a period of 15 years. Did I understand you correctly?
Correct.
On average? Okay. All right.
Somewhere in there, 15 or 20, something like that.
Okay.
So here's all our product page. This is when we start getting into product specific stuff. Marvin, 3 windows, Provia, 3 windows, and then we got Vistamart until tomorrow. And then who knows what's going to happen. With each window here, we have kind of like a company page, I call it. This used to have a hyperlink in here. Yeah, it's not there. Crap. So when they did all their rebranding, they got rid of this. But on these, see that little blue arrow right there? I hyperlinked like videos, like a video. So if somebody wanted to, if you wanted to show somebody a video company story, you could just click on this. But that video they've marked private because it said integrity, and it's no longer called Marvin Integrity. It's called Marvin Essentials. So this is the company page, which I have for all 3 of them. It just talks about the company, the benefits, all that junk. This is the window page. So these are industry tests not done by Marvin that talk about the comparison of vinyl like Fibrex, which is what Renewal by Anderson sells, and then Ultrex, which is the Marvin fiberglass. Then we have Cardinal Glass reference, more Cardinal Glass. Then we come to Provia. Here, I think this link should work. So y'all can watch these on your own. This is it's 4.5 minutes.
When all of your employees have the same core values, they're
So that's a pretty cool little thing, you know, like I said, for people that like media, you know, like younger people or whatever, you can do this play button and just have them watch a company story. You know, the videos are geared to sell, so they're going to speak certain things that people will identify with if they're all about that, you know, that company. So Provia, so then we get into product stuff, which I don't want to get too bogged down with. More product stuff for Provia. Then we got Vistamart company page. Vistamart product stuff. And then we have the, forgot what I called these, like the consolidated sheet. So it's kind of like a Cliff Notes for each window with accurate and updated price conditioning. So 10 windows as low as $22,145. That's a full 23% off, or $221 per month. So it's at our 7-day, and I notate that right here. It's based on 3 foot by 5 foot single color standard windows at current monthly promotion, 10-year, 2.99%. And I do one of those for each product line. So right, see up here, this is the ultimate. See that?
Right.
This is the essential right there. Then we got Eris, which is the top of the line window from Provia.
Ugh.
Endure, which is the mid line with accurate pricing. Aspect. And then Vistamart.
And you would only go into this after the person or the family had shown a specific interest in a particular manufacturer. Is that accurate or?
No, I mean, generally, you know, generally after this is helping to inform their decision.
Oh, okay. That makes
So
sense.
generally, unless they know 100%, hey, I absolutely want Marvin, or I had Vistamart the last time, or whatever, you're going to generally share all 3 of these.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the same for all 3 lines. And then really down here, just beauty pictures. And then whatever tag is right there. And it's not always going to be in that corner. Sometimes it's up, or down. That's what window it is, but they're all organized by product line. So we don't sell many of these. So I just did 2 of those. Now we're into essentials. So just some good glamour shots for people to look at, you know.
Nice.
And that's really it. And down here, these are all old slides that, you know, because we seem to bounce all over the place. But this is also kind of like a resource center. So I had all our Sunrise stuff here, kind of like just cheat sheets. So I made it easy for y'all to go to one place to find like Vistamart colors, Marvin exteriors, interior. So there's just a whole bunch of knowledge down here. Like I said, just cheat sheet type stuff that will help you kind of expedite things. So that's that. I'll try to find that audio. I mean, at this point, because I don't know what's going to even happen. I'm 100% positive I have the audio. I don't know if I ever did it on video, but I won't do it on video until we decide what window product we're going to be selling next, for obvious reasons. But I can for sure get you the audio. So that's basically the presentation. So with that being said, there are questions. I think that's enough for today, just so you can kind of, catch your breath, and you got enough to work on until we can get back together. So as far as stuff that you're going to work on would be the methodology, would be getting just a firm grasp on the process. And then the presentation, I'll do that right now. I'll look for the audio on that and get that to you. But presentation is probably going to take the most time because there's quite a few new slides in there. But process and methodology, that should be a fairly quick deal. But I need y'all to pretty aggressively move through that because I don't want to pile more stuff on until I know both of y'all have this down. It's just not fair. It's too much. Sound good?
Yes.
Any questions that y'all have about anything?
Not yet.
I know I will, but I don't know what they are yet.
Yeah. So a great resource, do both of y'all still have the training module that we use for training on your iPads in Goodreader?
I don't know if I ever used. Something in Goodreader for training.
Do you have yours, Dwayne?
I'm trying to recall what you're referring to, and I'm not recalling it just yet, my friend.
Okay. Let me just send this to you then, just so we're not wasting time. So these are two documents that you're really going to use.
I'm gonna need help getting Goodreader back onto my iPad after I did the erase and install. I just looked it up in the App Store, and I think it's charging, or it says it costs money.
It shouldn't be because we already paid for it once. It should be attached to your Apple ID. No?
I mean, I signed in with the Joseph D at Southwest Exteriors. I wonder if it was attached to Nick's Apple ID before. Cause remember his thing kept popping up on my iPad, like sign into Nick something at Southwest Exteriors.
Mhm.
So that hasn't happened since I did the erase and install, but it's also wanting to charge me for downloading Goodreader.
Okay. Well, worst case, I can just give you a card and
I mean, I don't mind paying for it, but
no.
I didn't know if there was like a company account or something.
Yeah, I just give you our company card. The account is individual user, but so the two things I'm going to send you are window nomenclature and window glossary of terms. They're all things you're going to use. I don't want to do like a vocab test, but they're all things that are going to be important for you to know and understand because they're all terms you're going to hear. And you know, in order to speak intelligently to this stuff, you got to know the terminology. So I don't want to do a test on it, but you're going to have to look through this at least probably 2-3 times and really start to get a firm grasp of what all these things are. It talks about the pieces of the window, the ratings. I mean, it's the nomenclature one is just all shapes and sizes and verbiage, but the glossary of terms is like literally anything Windows it's going to talk about.
You say you've already sent that, Ryan, or you're about?
I'm in the process of doing it right now. I just typed it up and built it.
Okay. Okay.
So I would definitely, you know, if you have some downtime or whatever, you need to look through the nomenclature just to get an understanding of the shapes and what they're called. And then the glossary of terms is, like I said, that's 19 pages, but it's all super helpful stuff that you're going to need to, it's industry speak stuff that you're going to need to know what it is.
Just
Make
got it.
sense? Dwayne's done. He said, screw that, I'm out of here. I'm not
No,
memorizing.
I'm just looking at what you sent. I am still here.
Dwayne's disengaged from training.
I'm just digesting the fact that you sent 19 pages of a new language I got to learn. So I'm gonna have to learn Klingon here.
Nice.
I think that's it. I'll look for that audio so y'all have that ASAP. You know, for the presentation. And I'll get that over to you. And then, like I said, we'll probably, you know, you got work and stuff like that. Probably, I don't think anytime this week, maybe early next week, we'll get back into it. But I want y'all to have a firm handle on this. I'd love for you to have at least a somewhat semi grasp on this terminology, so I can start speaking to you like a window person. That's going to be super helpful. You're going to need to know it when you do your inspection. You're going to need to know more than the homeowner does about window pieces and parts. If you don't, it's going to be awfully hard to set yourself up as a professional, right? So you got to go through these, you know, some of this industry speak here and really start to understand what are some of these terms, what does that mean? Yeah, because the alternative is, like I said, doing like vocab tests, and I don't want to do that. But I need y'all to know this terminology. I mean,
I can see based on at least just a overview, that's where I'm gonna need to spend a lot of my time in the beginning, is to learn that language.
well, it's actually pretty easy because they're all things you're going to deal with every day. You know, it's not some like far off, like it's stuff you'll be able to identify on a window. You know, so it's not hard. It's not like there's some unattached, like, well, I know this means this, you know. It's going to be pieces of a window that you're going to see every day. You know what I mean?
It's just knowing what they're called.
Yeah, but it's
And
not going to be
referring
as
to
hard
it,
as not going to be as hard as I think you think it is.
I'm open to that. Keep saying more of that. I like the sound of that.
So we'll check in. Like I said, I don't think it is Tuesday, right? Yeah. I don't think it'll be this week. I think that's pushing it a little bit, but I think early next week we should probably have our next little session. But in the meantime, it's kind of like on the job training. I obviously y'all have a job to do to make money, but this is still part of your daily tasks, right? You're still going to need to dip into this information at least a little bit every day, just so we can start building that learning base so we're ready for the next thing.
Hey, Ryan, in the copy, the PDF of the glossary of window terms that you sent, there's like 3 or 4 pages that look like they've been blacked out.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's my
I'm
copy's
not
the
sure.
same way. So
Okay,
again, most of what you need is on these pages. I don't know what we're missing. I don't know why it's missing.
well, sash isn't on there. The sash jam interlock is the second in the S in the alphabet, and then the next page is blacked
Yeah.
out, and then the next set of words that you get begins with U.
Yeah.
So we're missing like S and T. I don't know. I know sash is an important one.
Yeah, but like I said, hopefully we know what sash is, and it doesn't take
Yeah.
months to know that.
Yep. Okay.
You're not at the proper clearance level yet, Deuce.
Nice. Cool.
All right. Any questions?
Yeah, it's gonna be some long days for the next week or two, but it's gonna be worth it.
Yeah. The work now will be worth it later when you can go into the house and actually feel like a professional,
So is the plan that we're going to go over this for a few weeks and then start scheduling some ride-alongs? Is that how you
Probably,
have
yeah.
envisioned this?
Yeah, depending on how well y'all move through the content.
Okay.
But the other part, the methodology part is easy. Presentation stuff, I think, will be fairly easy because you're used to doing it. It's just some different slides. So, and these terms, you have to know the basic components of a window. And I'll see if I can find something else, maybe some other thing. But I don't think it's going to be that, that hard. I really don't. So anything else y'all need from me? Anything I can do for you?
Find a quick way to just implant this surgically in my brain.
Need to get you a USB port on your arm or something. You just plug in.
That's right, man. Let's get past all this learning curve stuff. Just plant it in there. I'm okay with that.
If we had matrix technology, I think the thing I would learn would probably not be the glossary of window terms.
you
If I could
would
plug in and learn one thing, it wouldn't be glossary of window terms.
really, Deuce? Really?
No way.
You wouldn't waste your data space with that? Damn.
No, I just, I feel like, I don't know, helicopter pilot or
Some quantum physics there. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
It is, it does look like a lot, but I think you're right, Ryan. I think once you kind of start to,
Yeah.
even just walk around your house and kind of look at the picture and go, oh,
Yeah.
I got you.
And this is, if you look at the date on that nomenclature thing, that's from 2014. So I could probably pull up another guide, you know, with some better visuals to show you like components of a window. And I'll do that. Like I said, I'm not doing anything today. So I got some office time. So I'll pull that up for y'all and send it to you. Because I'm sure I can find some better stuff than what's, you know, what I have in there from way back when.
Gotcha.
I mean, there's probably some interactive junk that you could find where you click on it and it tells you what it is, and who knows.
There's probably like a YouTube class or something that would just walk you through
Everything else
Physical
is on
window.
YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there very may well be.
That's what our clients are watching. So, you
Yeah.
know, we got to be prepared.
And they always have the right answers. So
So the Mullion post in this window here is looking a little tattered. We need to.
Impressive already, Deuce. Impressive. I like
Use.
I just read it off of the page. So
that.
Pretty good. Neither one of us knew, so you fooled us.
Yeah.
It's like Dwayne's original thought. Cool. Well, I'm good if y'all are good.
yeah, thanks, Ryan.
I think I've got enough to stuff my brain with right now. That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, just bite it off in little pieces, you know, don't feel like you have to kill yourself, just a little bit each day, you know, and it's, you know, it'll pay off, obviously.
Sure. Absolutely.
I'll look for some other tools, you know, glossary stuff and that kind of, see if I can find something for you.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, good. Have a good
Right
day,
on.
fellas. Thank you. Let me know if you need anything, if you have any questions.
You too.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay.